And good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for being here. Our number every day on The Bright Side, today and every day, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. If you have a health challenge that you or a loved one is dealing with, we can help you there too. If you just want to comment or have a success story you'd like to share, we love hearing those. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. We'll be talking to Sabine Gideon, author of the book Transformed, The Journey to Becoming. Sabine is an inspirational speaker, and as you know, and as I've said many times on this program, I love inspirational speakers. I love inspiration, the idea of inspiration. Her book, Transformed, The Journey to Becoming, is her personal story about being emotionally and physically abandoned by her mother and coming to the United States as a child and going through near suicide and coming out the other end, like as she says in the book, like a butterfly comes out of a caterpillar. I love that metaphor of the butterfly and the caterpillar. A caterpillar goes into the cocoon and gets completely pulverized, turns into juice, turns into liquid. That's what happens in the cocoon. The caterpillar gets completely eliminated. All that's left is juice made up of cells that are called imaginal cells. How do you like that? The cells that a caterpillar turns into that become the butterfly are called imaginal cells, as in imagination. And these imaginal cells, as in imagination, become a butterfly. What a beautiful metaphor that is. Sabine Gideon will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll get to your calls next segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. Ask about joining the Brightside Ben team while you're on the call. For a one-time fee, you can be in business for yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, if you like the entrepreneur lifestyle, you want to be part of the multi-billion-dollar nutritional supplement business, or if you simply want to get your longevity products at the wholesale price for a one-time fee, you can start a longevity business, and I can help you do it. I can help you build your business, me personally. I do three-way calls with folks when they have patients or clients with health challenges. We can help you build your business. We can help you understand business. We can provide you with products, all at the wholesale price. Call 866-735-2470 or hit the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number, as always, on the Bright Side. Sabine Gideon, author of the book Transformed, The Journey to Becoming, will be with us at the bottom of the hour, and I want to continue talking about the idea of inspiration and transformation. We live in this crazy world. Did you guys catch that France is now mandating vaccines for anybody who wants to go to a restaurant or a bar or a nightclub or wants to get on a train or a plane? You have to be vaccinated now in France. Now we're talking about a third vaccine, a third one, because the first two weren't enough. It's almost funny how obvious it is, how obvious this scam is, but yet we have people. It's not, don't blame the government and don't blame the little weasel doctors that are on television. Not that all doctors are weasels, but there's one in particular, you know who I'm talking about. These weasel talking head physicians and announcers and newscasters talking, they really want you vaccinated. They really want you vaccinated. One has to ask, what the heck is going on that they want you vaccinated so badly? It seems obvious to anybody whose eyes are open, but unfortunately the masses of people's eyes are not open, and that's just the way we live. That's the world we live in. And we can't blame the power structure for that. We have to blame our neighbors for that. We have to blame people who are sleepwalking through life, who are oblivious to the mechanisms of life, and this is what accounts for our general unhappiness, for our general dissatisfaction, for our general sense of our general malcontent. Our general sense that something's wrong. We are oblivious to how the world works. We're oblivious to how we work. We're oblivious to how our bodies work. We are oblivious to how our minds work. The bright side, as I said yesterday, is about having a great life. It's about waking up to a great life. It's about understanding the strategies that are required for a great life. And an effective and a successful life mandates understanding the mechanisms. Just like an effective and successful and a human body mandates understanding the mechanisms. We have to understand the dynamics, how everything works, how everything is put together. An effective and a successful life is measured by our contentment and or by our satisfaction, by our happiness. That is the ultimate human goal. Our happiness, our contentment, and our satisfaction is the ultimate human goal. If we reverse engineer everything we do, if we reverse engineer all of our motives, all of our actions, all of our behaviors, we'll find that everything we do is based in the drive to be happy. But the irony of it all is we think we have to do things to be happy. In reality, happiness is always underneath all of our problems. We think we have to get rid of our problems to be happy, but in reality, we can get to happiness anytime we want. It's always there. The sun is always there underneath, behind the clouds. It's not like the sun goes away on a cloudy day. The sun's always there. There's just clouds on top of it. It doesn't mean if you dive right to happiness, if you go right to the sun, it doesn't mean that the clouds will disappear. It doesn't mean the problems will go away. We'll still have to pay our rent. We'll still have to take care of our bodies and our relationships and our jobs. We'll still have to go to work every morning. It's just that once we see that there is happiness that lives underneath everything else, that lives underneath everything we made wrong about our lives, we will be able, if we want to, if we desire it, we will be able to get to that place and be happy no matter what. We can tap into a sense of happiness anytime we like. And I'm not just saying this as an assertion. This is scientifically proven. Daniel Gilbert, author of the book Stumbling into Happiness, is a professor, a PhD in happiness. Actually, he's a psychology professor at Harvard. And in the book Stumbling into Happiness, which is an awesome book, if you want to understand this thing called happiness, he has a concept he calls synthesizing happiness. He says that all human beings have a built-in psychological system that's designed by evolution to allow them to experience happiness no matter what the circumstances may be. Gilbert points to very interesting research data in the book Stumbling into Happiness that shows that lottery winners and paraplegics 1 year out from their event report nearly identical levels of happiness. People who won $1 million in the lottery and people who got in a horrible accident, became a paraplegic 1 year after the event, they report they have the same amount of happiness, regardless of the circumstances in their life. And there's a formula, one of the best books on happiness. If you want to really, and I encourage everybody to read books on happiness, because that's our ultimate goal. We want to figure this thing out, especially if you're unhappy. One of my favorite books on happiness is a book called Solve for Happy by a guy named Mo Gawdat, G-A-W-D-A-T. He's an engineer. He was an engineer at Google. And he came up with an equation, with a formula for happiness, solve for happiness. Yesterday I talked about the STAR system. We'll continue that discussion when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben, 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got all our lines open. 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. Sabine Gideon will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We are going to talk about her book, Transformed, The Journey to Becoming. Sabine is an inspirational speaker, motivational speaker, and authoress, as well as a life coach and the founder and CEO of Gideon Enterprises. We'll talk to Sabine Gideon at the bottom of the hour. Get your calls. This segment, 844-236-6010, if we have calls. So if you're interested in reading a good book about happiness, about how to be happy, about what happiness is, the dynamics of happiness, and I suggest everybody understands the dynamics of happiness because, after all, at the end of the day, everything we do, every single thing we do has one motive or one goal in mind, no matter what that is, and that's to be happy. That's the human imperative, is to be happy. But yet we don't really understand it. We don't understand what happiness is. We think we have to get things to be happy. So you want to read this book, Solve for Happy. It's written by a guy named Mo Gawdat, G-A-W-D-A-T. Mo Gawdat is an engineer, and he uses engineering principles to figure out happiness. The subtitle of his book is Engineer Your Path to Joy. And it literally is a formula. Mo Gawdat had a son. The son was his best friend. He loved his son. And they used to hang out together. And when the son was in his 20s, he went into surgery. I think he had a hernia, or no, he had an appendectomy. He had a burst appendix and ends up dying in the emergency room or in surgery to have his appendix taken out. And that can happen. Anytime you go into surgery, it's a risk. There's no guarantees anywhere. When you're in surgery, when you go into the hospital, we're conditioned to believe that, you just go in and you come out okay. And for the most part, that happens, but it's no sure thing. It's like life. There's no sure thing. And Mo's son died. Mo goes into a massive depression, and then he decides to use engineering principles to literally engineer his happiness. I love that word, engineering. That's what we want to do. We want to be engineers of our lives. We want to engineer everything we want in our lives. We all want to be engineers. The biggest myth of being in a human life is this idea that happiness just drops in our laps, that success and effectiveness and a good life just drops in our lap. It doesn't because, even though it should, but it doesn't because the world has conspired against individual happiness. The world is set up to pull us out of happiness because of entropy, survival. Things break down. So we have to figure out how to engineer our happiness in the light of in a world where everything breaks down. And Mo came up with a wonderful formula. And that's what this book is about, which I highly recommend, a strategy for happiness. Yesterday we talked about my personal formula for success, my personal formula for anything you want to get. I call this formula the STAR system. Anything you want to achieve in your life, the STAR system can get you. STAR system is an acronym, STAR, strategy, tools, application, results. You start off with a recipe, a formula, a strategy, a protocol, a step-by-step series of actions that you take to achieve something. A recipe is the best example. You don't have to know how to bake, but you can bake anything if you have a recipe. But you don't just need a recipe, you need the tools, you need the oven, you need the mixing bowl, you need the spoons, whatever, the cake mixer. And then you got to know how to apply the tools, how long you bake the cookies for, or cook the chicken for, whatever it is you're doing. Whether you put the butter in first or the eggs in first. You got to know how to apply the tools, and you always get results once you have strategy, tools, application, results. The STAR system can be used to achieve anything you want to achieve. Wellness, money, healthy relationships, emotional goals. In terms of happiness, if you want to get happy, the formula for happiness, first thing, you have to have a strategy. You have to have a recipe. And the first part of this recipe is to understand what happiness is for us. What is happiness? As strange as it sounds, sometimes we really don't know what it means to be happy. Is happiness a feeling? Is it good thoughts? Is it a physical sensation in your body? If we don't understand what happiness means for us, how are we going to get there? How are we going to get to it if we don't know what we're getting to? How are we going to get what we want if we don't know what it is we want? So the first thing you have to do is you have to figure out what happiness means to us. Then we got to figure out what is blocking it. What is getting in the way of that happiness? In my opinion, the only thing that keeps us from being happy, this is my opinion, this is what I've come up with after many years of studying how to be happy, and I had as traumatic a childhood as anybody else, maybe more, and I just made it my life's goal to figure out what happiness was, how to get it, what was blocking it, and in my opinion, the only thing that keeps us from being happy, no matter what is occurring in our lives, is our beliefs. Our beliefs about what is required, about what is necessary. Our belief in what we have to have first to be happy. But is that belief really true? Are our beliefs about what is required to be happiness really true? What would it take to drop those beliefs? Can we drop the belief that says this has to happen for us to be happy first? Can we even experiment mentally, do a thought experiment with dropping the belief about what's required for happiness? And in my experience, I've talked to a lot of people. One of the most important, I talk to people every day, multiple times a day, who have health challenges. And in my experience, the most important health challenges involve anxiety, depression, sadness, lack of joy for life. And in my experience, I found that most people don't want to drop their beliefs. Most people don't want to drop their beliefs about happiness and about what's blocking it. I call it the yeah, but syndrome. Yeah, but you don't know I have this problem. Yeah, but you don't have the same problem. Yeah, but we don't drop our beliefs. Yeah, but. Even if it costs us joie de vivre, joy for life. Our beliefs are our friends. And many of our beliefs have been with us for as long as we can remember, and we don't want to drop them. They're our best friends. Not because we don't want to drop them, not because we love them, but because we're used to them. We're stuck to them. So let's just say, for the sake of our example here, that our happiness strategy is going to be to figure out what happiness is for us and what is standing in the way, what is blocking our happiness. Just take that. Let's just do a thought experiment. If you're not happy and you want to be happy, step number one, figure out what does happiness mean for you, and then secondly, what is blocking that. Then the next element in the STAR system is the tools. You got to have the tools to employ the strategy. You got to have the tools to figure out what happiness is. You got to have the tools to figure out what is standing in the way. One of the most important tools is our attention. Yes, we want to consider our attention to be a tool. A tool that, like all tools, can be used for good or for harm. What are we attending to? What are we paying attention to? I love that term, pay attention. Why? Well, where does that come from? Pay attention. Our attention is something that we pay, like cash. It's a resource. Our intention is something that we spend like we spend money. What are we spending our attention on? Think of attention like your most precious resource. Much more precious than your money is your attention. What are you paying attention to? What are you spending this resource called attention on? And this is where gratefulness comes in. This is where gratitude comes in. If you're paying attention, if you're spending your precious resources on the news, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you happiness. It's going to cost you satisfaction. It's going to cost you contentment. But if you're paying attention to what you can be grateful for, you're going to get a lot back. It's going to be the best investment you've ever made. If you pay attention to the news, that's a terrible investment. But if you pay attention to what's going right in your life, that's an awesome investment. All right, I got more to say on this. We'll continue tomorrow on the bright side. Simone Gideon will be with us in our next segment. Don't go away. You're listening to The Bright Side.
Are you afraid to...
We are back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, also pharmacistben.com or criticalhealthnews.com. We've got blog posts and news stories on all of our websites. And we've got the longevity products and a Join the Team link that you can click on if you want to start yourself a longevity home-based business, if you want to work out of your home. And this is a perfect time to consider working out of your home. And it's a perfect time to be part of the billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar nutritional supplement business. If you're interested, or if you like the entrepreneur lifestyle, if you want to start a home-based business, call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for information. You can also click on the Join the Team links, which are up at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, which are all available at truthtreatments.com. I've been formulating skincare products now since the early 1980s, for almost 40 years. I first started formulating products when I was in pharmacy school. I worked for the Blistex Corporation. One of my professors was actually the guy who invented Blistex. Many of you have heard the story. And I learned that there were actually things that you could do topically. Despite the idea that topical skincare was really smoke and mirrors and didn't really do much, there were things, and that was true. Most topical skincare, even to this day, is smoke and mirrors, but it doesn't have to be that way. This is what Dr. Jones taught me in the Blistex lab, is that you could really manipulate tissue topically. You could really grow tissue topically if you understood the mechanisms of the skin. It's kind of like we were talking about the mechanisms of happiness. You've got to understand mechanisms. You've got to understand dynamics. You've got to understand how things move, how things work. In terms of the body, you've got to understand the mechanisms of the body. If you want to have a healthy body, you've got to understand the mechanisms. That's the biggest problem we have in our culture when it comes to our health, is we trust other people to take care of our bodies for us. How's that working out? Not very well. Because we got all kinds of people telling us how to take care of our bodies, but yet we're sicker than ever before. And that's because we don't understand ourselves, how our bodies work. We don't understand the nature of the body, how it's composed, how it's put together, how it moves. That's why I'm always talking about the cell. I always said all disease is cell disease. Health is about the cell. You've got to be at the level of the cell. And that's what skincare should be. That's what I learned from working in the Blistex lab, is that if you want to have healthy skin, you've got to be at the level of the cell. But the cell is located deep underneath the surface, and therein lies the problem. We look at the surface, we don't see a cell. We just see a surface. And so we just think, oh, I've got eczema, I'm just going to rub this cream on my eczema. I've got a pimple, I'm just going to rub this cream on my pimple. I got psoriasis, I'll just rub this cream on my plaques. I got dry skin, I'll just rub my cream on my dry skin. From the perspective of what's really happening, that is pure silliness. And skincare is pure silliness from the perspective of what's really happening for the most part. You've got to be at the level of the cell. That's why I developed Truth Treatments. I figured out in the pharmacy, I was working I had a compounding pharmacy for the skin, and I was dealing with people who had really severe problem skin, whether it was problem eczema or problem psoriasis or just severely dry skin or xerosis means dry skin. And I knew I had to figure out something. I couldn't just play games. I had to figure out something to really make the skin different. And I had learned from the Blistex lab how to do it. I didn't learn 100% how to do it from working at Blistex, but I learned a lot about it. I learned the idea that there were things that we could do. I just figured out, I got to get to the cell. I just figured out, how am I going to get to the cell? I just figured out, what does the cell need? I put it all together. And that's what Truth Treatments is all about. It's about active ingredients. And when I say active, I mean cellular active ingredients. Ingredients that the cell responds to. Ingredients that the cell has learned to respond to over the course of millions, literally millions, in fact, billions of years. Cells have been around for billions of years. 3.5 billion years. That's when the first cell came around. And in that 3.5 billion years, the cell has figured out what it needs to be happy, to be healthy, to be strong, to be resilient, to grow when it needs to grow, to stop growing when it needs to stop growing, to do everything it needs to do, to make collagen, to make moisture factors, to repair wounds, to produce a strong and healthy skin barrier. The cells at the bottom know what to do. You just got to get the material there to facilitate their actions. That's where vitamin C comes in. That's where vitamin A comes in. That's where ionic minerals come in. That's where hydroxy acids come in. These are all the ingredients we use in our True Skin Health products. True Skin Health products make your cells happy. They give your cells what they need. And then in combination, I put in transdermal penetrants, ingredients that facilitate the movement of those active ingredients to the lower levels where the cells are. That's all Truth is. That's it. They're active ingredients. They're cellular triggers, if you will, cellular signaling molecules, plus transdermal ingredients that pull those substances, those actives, through the surface of the skin. And that's why people get the results they get. And all you got to do is go to truthreview.com, and you'll see. Every day we get 2 or 3 reviews. Today, this one's on my retinol regenerating 5% from Angela S. I love this product. Does a great job and is the best retinol on the market. IMO, my opinion. You feel the effects with the first use. This is my second jar. It lasts me several months as I only use it once a week. Helps with hyperpigmentation and improve the texture of my skin. That's Angela S. We have 55 to 64 years old. We have a review service that we subscribe to, and people write reviews when they get the products. And there's 2,000 of these, 2,000 plus at truthreview.com. If you're interested in checking out our products, truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. You'll find all our Truth Skin Health products. We've got specials running all the time. And truthreview.com for our 2,000 plus 4- and 5-star reviews. All right. I am apologizing because Sabine Gideon is not available, and I'm very bummed. Her book, Transformed: The Journey to Becoming. I read it last week. Super cool book. She's got just a wonderful, wonderful inspirational story about transforming her life. And I'm sorry that she's not on, because I was really looking forward to speaking to her. I was looking forward to having you listen to her and having her share information. We'll try and get her back on. And in the meantime, now's your golden opportunity. If you would like to speak to me, if you have questions, comments, or success stories, 844-236-6010. And we will continue talking about the star system. The second element of the star system, of course, is the tools. And the most important of our tools, as I said, is our attention. In fact, that's our most important resource, period, is our attention. For happiness, we'll say, is our attention. What are we attending to? What are we spending our attention on? Are we spending our attention on something that's going to bring us return? Or are we spending our attention on something that's not going to bring us a return? Or that's going to bring us a negative return in terms of our happiness, that is. The news will bring you a negative return in terms of your happiness. Be very careful watching the news. I have to watch the news so I can see what's going on in the world. And when I watch the news, I'm not watching the news for what they're telling me. I'm watching the news for what they want me to think. What are they trying to get you to believe? That's how you want to watch the news. What are they trying to get you to, how are they trying to mold your belief system? How are they trying to shape the way you show up in the world? They're not just telling you information. Nobody's just telling you information. There is an ulterior motive to everything they're telling you. It's either to get you to buy something, or it's to get you to feel a certain way. It's to get you to tune in again. And really, underneath all of it, it's to get you to be afraid, because they know that when you're afraid, you're going to be compliant. And that's why there's so much negativity and there's so much fear when you turn on the news. Don't watch the news, or if you do, put your psychological hazmat suit on to protect yourself. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben, 844-236-6010. We'll get your calls next segment. You're listening to The Bright Side. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. Got lines open for you, 844-236-6010. Hang on if you're on hold. Just want to read a really quick story, and then we'll get your calls. Let's see, I think I have a couple calls. I want to read this real quick. This is about vitamin D, which I thought was really interesting. Vitamin D has been in the news a lot, and for good reason. Vitamin D is really important. We talked about it about a month ago. I'll probably continue talking about vitamin D because it's just so darn important, and there's so many misunderstandings about this important vitamin. One of the most interesting roles, I don't want to say the main roles, but one of the most interesting roles of vitamin D is for skin. Vitamin D actually helps skin cells, I should say, grow appropriately. Skin cells, like all cells, grow under controlled conditions. You don't want skin cells or any cells growing too fast. You don't want them growing too slow. They have to be growing at just the right rate. This process of making cells or allowing cells or helping cells grow at just the right rate is called normalization. And vitamin D is a normalizing vitamin. It's a hormone, actually. It's a normalizing hormone / vitamin. We call it a vitamin because it's essential, but it's a hormone. Your body makes it in response to the sun, as we all know. And vitamin D helps stabilize the growth of cells, all cells, including skin cells, and that's why vitamin D is used to treat psoriasis. Topical vitamin D, putting vitamin D on the skin, is used as a psoriatic treatment. In fact, the only prescription drug, or one of the few prescription drugs specifically for psoriasis, is a cream called Dovanex, which is vitamin D cream. And psoriatic patients are told to go out in the sun because the vitamin D helps the psoriasis. Well, as it turns out now, vitamin D may be a simple treatment to enhance burn healing. This is from the Society of Endocrinology. Low vitamin D levels were associated with worse outcomes in burn patients, including life-threatening infections, mortality, and wound healing. Low levels of vitamin D are also associated with worse scarring. But vitamin D levels are something generally overlooked by clinicians. This is something I discovered in my practice. Vitamin D is an awesome topical burn product, or burn ingredient. Vitamin D is a great topical anti-aging ingredient. Vitamin D is a great topical moisturizing ingredient, skin softening ingredient. It's very, very underutilized. If you want a great topical vitamin D product, get our Dermal Defense Serum off TruthTreatments.com. I've been working with topical vitamin D for years. And in my opinion, topical vitamin D is one of the most underappreciated of all active ingredients for the skin, for skincare products. Vitamins in general. I use lots of vitamins in my skincare formulations, which you can find at TruthTreatments.com. TruthTreatments.com. All right. 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to our friend Kevin, back in Moscow. Hey, Kev.
Yes, I am back in Moscow.
Back in Moscow.
Yep.
Yes.
We'll talk about that privately because it was a hellish experience going back.
I'd love to. Why does it have to be private? Okay. You don't want to share it?
Well, if you got time, I think you got time because your guest isn't there. But,
yeah, I got a few minutes. I got some calls I want to get to.
We went to a place to get the PCR test. They gave us the antibody test.
Okay.
And getting the results that you can't get on a plane with that test. Okay, that's number one. You can only get on a plane with a PCR test, the negative PRC test.
Okay. That's a swab test.
The results didn't come for like 5 hours, 3 hours past when my plane left.
Oh,
it was
no.
Not helpful at all. My daughter and I slept in the airport.
Oh, Kevin.
we had to pay just under $400, just under $200 a piece for the test, the proper PCR test.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So it's, you know, other than helping my aunt around her house, it was a very dismal vacation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really.
I'm sorry, Kevin. But you didn't have to get vaccinated, though, did you?
No, I'm not going to get vaccinated. I shared with you before, Summer of Love, 1969, right near Woodstock. I went into the woods, and I got a snake, a garter snake. It bit me. The one kid's mother told the other kid's mother that told my mother I got a tetanus vaccine that almost killed me. So I haven't had a vaccine in 52 years, just about 52 years, and I'm doing just fine. I've never gotten the flu.
Do you have the same push in Russia that you have here for everybody to get vaccinated? Is it the same kind of thing?
I heard what you said about France, and they're trying to float it, but it's getting a lot of pushback. And let's just say someone very close to me, you know, with a ring on the ring finger, went to one of these rallies here, and she saw people getting beaten and arrested, taken away for saying no to this. They want to have passports, and they want to force the vaccines on people. And do you know about the vaccine that has the stupefied virus that they inject the material in? The virus is the vector to get into your cell.
Oh, it's the new style. They use another virus to pull this virus into the cell. Yeah, that one is the. I think that's. I forgot which company's making that one. They use a virus. They use a virus. They actually use a virus as a vector to carry this little piece of genetic material into the cells. Yes, I do know about that. Yeah. It would be, you know, if it's anybody who understands biochemistry or biology, it's kind of laughable, but it's not, because there are medical professionals, there are people who we trust to take care of our health who are promoting this thing. It's unbelievable, really.
And I'm wondering, are they getting it? And I'm thinking they're bullshitting. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think they're lying about this. And, you know, they're getting the saline shot.
I wondered that, like, are the politicians, and they must know, are they really getting, but I don't know necessarily. Maybe they're drinking the Kool-Aid too. Maybe they're buying, you don't think?
I've seen plenty of photos and videos where when you home in on where they're injecting, empty, the plunge is down, or there's just no needle part of the thing, you know, the injector. Some of them have the cap on. I mean, how stupid do they think people are?
People are pretty, you know, I don't want to say stupid, but we'll say oblivious. People are oblivious. You know, the average person doesn't, that's what I was talking about earlier. The average person doesn't understand the dynamics of how their bodies work, how cells work, how medicine works, how vaccines work, how viruses work. And it is, you know, it's a little complicated maybe, but you got to know these things. We live in a body. We live in a world where there are viruses. We have cells. You know, we interact with biology and chemistry and biochemistry all the time. And if we don't understand how the whole thing works, we're just going to be pawns. We're just going to be like dust in the wind. What's that?
Everything's all linked. Everything in life is all linked.
Everything is connected, and all the bottom line is you got to participate in how the world works. You got to participate in how your body works and how everything is put together. I want to see if I get one more call, Kevin. I got about a minute here. I'm going to see this guy's been waiting for a while. I'm going to see what he has to say.
And we'll talk in a couple days, okay?
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. That's Kevin Peterson, by the way, folks. He puts together all our YouTube videos and our now our Rumble videos, I guess. And by the way, all the Brightside episodes can be seen on Rumble. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm going to see if. Bye, Kevin.
Enjoy.
Bye. Okay. I think we got, I don't see the name here. This is Davis. David?
David. Yeah, hey,
David.
Ben, this is David. Yeah, I'm in Austin, Texas. Actually, you helped me some time ago cure myself. Well, can't say that, but you helped me get rid of all the symptoms of my Graves' disease.
Okay. And, I remember you.
Yeah. We actually met at a bowling alley when you came
I remember talking to you. I remember the congratulations, by the way, because they would have taken your thyroid out. They would have taken the organ out or the gland out.
That's funny because that's what the doctor wanted to do right before I started talking to you. But you really did a lot for me. I know we're short on time, but
what's going on?
I would just like to say that things are really weird right now because it seems like every time I tune into you, you always focus in on a particular issue that I'm going through. Like right now, I'm trying to make my wife happier. She's at work.
Oh, that's
She's
fun.
very unhappy. Thinks things are very unfair with the COVID stuff that's going on, and she's been working through it, and a lot of coworkers are. And what you explained today I think, is going to help her tremendously.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's amazing. Well, but one thing I'm kind of going through, I'm sorry I'm talking so fast, but I'm just trying to...
No, we're out of time, though, David. I want to hear from you, though. So either do this. Either shoot me an email, ben@ksco.com with your phone number. I'll talk to you personally. Or even better, if you come on the air tomorrow. That'd be great. We can talk. But we're just out of time.
I'll come on the air tomorrow, and hopefully we can talk a lot.
And I'm going to be talking more about happiness. It's one of my favorite topics. So we'll be talking more about that. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
You made my life very happy, so thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Take care, David. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you all later, folks. Bye for now.